Hello, I'm the Beauty Professor, and you can find my beauty blog at www.beautyprofessor.net. Today I'll be sharing a quick makeup look tutorial that focuses on a very quick polished face in a matter of minutes, and that seems to be a theme for the makeup tutorials that I do, probably because they're the most pragmatic for my everyday life. I was on break for a few weeks and went back to work and found myself having very little time to do my makeup again in the morning, and I've been relying on a few favorite products lately that have allowed me to create a full face in probably 6 minutes. So it's a very effective routine and I'm excited to share the process with you right now. After prepping my skin with a couple drops of the NUDE ProGenius Treatment Oil, which I've mentioned in recent videos, I follow with a single pump of the Limecrime de Beauté Peau in number 2, which is a product I've mentioned countless times, both in blog posts and in videos. I treat it as an initial base, illuminator, moisturizer. It does have a little bit of SPF as well, and so it's like a primer for me before I follow with foundation. So once those two products have been applied to my skin, and in this case, for brevity's sake, I've already applied them, I go ahead and follow with my foundation, working with something that isn't touted as a foundation per se, but it was a new product discovery for me, and I found that it does work as a foundation because it matches my skin tone, at least right now, perfectly. And that is the Cosmetics Bye Bye Redness Neutralizing Correcting Cream. As the name would imply, it's intended to neutralize any unevenness, chiefly redness, but also if you have sun damage or freckles, this will take care of that. But because it's so potent, I found that just on a beauty blender, and I'll show you how I apply it momentarily, I find that it works really well as a light foundation that actually provides immense coverage and lasting power throughout the day. What I like to do in the morning after those first two steps are taken care of is just take a damp beauty blender, and I work with the product that's just kind of in the cap of the jar because it's easy and quick. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap some onto the tip of my beauty blender. Before I do, I'll go ahead and swatch it on my wrist for you so you can see. Now this is a very heavy swatch, but you can see it's kind of a light yellow beige, suitable for what I would say is probably NC 20 to maybe NC 30. I know that's kind of a vast range, but it does seem to have the ability to kind of morph into your skin tone and seamlessly blend. Go ahead and buff it onto my face in the areas where I think I need some additional coverage. And I'm using this little mirror today because my new filming setup doesn't allow me to see what I'm doing since I'm using a new camera, but we'll see how this works as an implementation. Buffing it onto my skin here, going over the center of my face where most of my discoloration and unevenness is. Texturally speaking, this is very smooth. It's kind of cooling. It feels like a cream product, but not an overly emollient one. And I'm just buffing it into my skin. You can see it's taking care of freckles and unevenness and just making the canvas a very even. Instructions on this particular product say you can go ahead and follow with your favorite foundation. In this case, for obvious reasons, I don't see that that would be necessary. That might feel like a redundant step to follow with another foundation, which is precisely why I've been wearing this as a foundation, because it just gives me the coverage that I need. It deserves an overall review on my blog in and of itself, but I did want to mention it in this particular video since I've been relying upon it heavily the last week or two. Now that my foundation is in place, I'm going to go ahead and follow with some contour. Now I've been working with a product that I received as a gift a while back, and that is the Daniel Sandler Sculpt and Slim Effect Contour Face Powder. And it looks like this in the compact. We've got the D and the S insignia, and Daniel Sandler is a British makeup artist. He's well known for his watercolor. So I just use my angled travel blush brush in the morning when I'm in a hurry, and I go ahead and just suck in my cheeks like I would for any contour product and apply. go across the jawbone to add depth and dimension there. A little bit on the sides of the nose. Up here on the forehead. Center of the face here. Okay. You could see I've already created some depth and some nice shadow, some warmth to the face. It's quite an instant effect with very little effort. In the process in the morning when I am hurriedly doing this, I take the same brush, I know that's probably in poor form, but I do, and I just use it to brush the lighter portion across the upper section of my cheekbones, just very quickly. And you can already see that it creates a nice shine, an illuminating, radiant effect that's not glittery, but it does kind of just bring the skin to life, making it look natural and dewy. Put a little bit down the center of my nose, a little bit up here. All right, and then I might follow with a secondary highlighter. In this case, I will, but for now, that's the Daniel Sandler Compact, and I will be doing a blog post on this as well. Moving on to blush, and this is always a quick process in the morning. I'm going to be working today with the Daniel Sandler Watercolor Liquid Blush. I've been either using this or a powder blush, namely the Illamasqua Katie blush, which is a very pale pink, or one of my favorite Surratt beauty blushes, either in Gui Mauve or Duchess. So I use the blushes interchangeably depending on my mood and what lip color I know I'm wearing. But the last couple of days I've been trying out I'm using my flathead e.l.f. brush, which I use for most cream and liquid blushes. And I'm tapping it onto my hand, picking up the color, and then I'll go ahead and tap it onto the apples of my cheeks. You can see blush, no blush. It's a very subtle effect. This particular blush is called Cherub, and before ordering it, I went over many swatches online. A lot of European beauty blogs have already covered this, Australian beauty blogs, but I was trying to find the lightest color because my skin tends to oxidize blushes, especially, and make everything darker than it initially appears. And so I have to go with the lightest colors off the top so that that doesn't happen. See, it leaves a very radiant finish. It's not shimmery, very dewy and just natural skin-like with a kind of lit from within glow. I love this Cherub color because it just gives a very natural flush. Moving on to eyes and lips, I'm going to go ahead and preemptively prep my lips with the Jouer Lip Enhancer. I've mentioned this before. I just love how cushiony and plush this is. I just put the tiniest bit on and it preps my lips for the lipstick to come. In this case, I know exactly what I'm going to be wearing lip combo wise because I've been doing this all week. Now that my lips are getting hydrated, I'll go ahead and move on to brows momentarily. I'm still working with the $1 Billion Brows brow powder in taupe, and I'm also using their angled brush. Taupe is like the perfect shade for my dark brows, which have always been darker than my hair color. But I find that this taupe, as I've mentioned, it is a cool brown rather than a warm reddish one, and it doesn't go red even with wear, and I love that. So I just put some onto my brush, and I'm going to start here on the inside and just fill in. Now I use brow powder just to make my brows a little more pronounced and polished looking. I'm just making sure that they look as clean and as polished as possible, and I find when I do this step, it just complements the rest of the look on the face and only takes a couple of seconds. In my case, I do it very quickly in the morning. Then I'll go ahead and move on to my eyes. And typically in the morning, and I think I've done this step before, I like to prep my eyes with a bit of concealer underneath and not rub it in until the very end, because I find that after I've put mascara on, the concealer, if there's any mascara that's moved down to the bottom as I've been running around to get out of the house, the concealer is something I can then tap into my eyes and kind of wipe away any of the errant mascara. Today I'm working with the Clé de Peau Beige Concealer. It's one of their cult classics. Beige is a good winter color for me. The ochre is a good summer color for me when I have more color in my face. But the beige is perfect for just cleaning up and brightening up the under area of my eyes. So I just put a swipe here and a swipe here. It's very like football player, but obviously with a different color than black. So this will just hang out right here under my eyes for the time being. I apologize if it looks a little distracting, but it's truly what I do in the mornings. And sometimes when I leave, my husband's like, you're gonna rub that in, right? Because he'll see me on my way out of the house, and I usually do it while I'm driving, you know, at a signal, so that my mascara has completely dried. All right, onward to my eyelids. I've been working with two colors. I've been mournfully lazy this week, maybe not lazy, but pressed for time. And so I've been relying on kind of a 1-2 punch combo that I know works. It's the By Terry Ombre Blackstars, which I have talked about many times over. In this case, I've been wearing Bronze Moon, which I'm on like tube number 5 of, and Brown Perfection, which is a darker color that was released a few months ago in a recent By Terry collection. And so I'll swatch these for you quickly so you can see their inherent differences. Bronze Moon is just this neutral to almost cool, shimmery bronze color. Beautiful in the taupe family. And then Brown Perfection is more of a traditional cool brown. It has much less shimmer, if any, maybe just a touch of satin finish, but it feels extremely matte in contrast to the Bronze Moon. And so what I like to do in the mornings to just get my eye looking alive is I go ahead and just put Bronze Moon on directly from the tube, like so. I'll put some underneath, like that. Go ahead and do the other eye. I mean, this is like a full eye in all of 10 seconds, which is what makes these particular products so exceptional. Now, this isn't totally clean yet, and I will use a brush to clean it up. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of the Brown Perfection in the crease just to add some dimension. So I'll go ahead in here and just draw into the crease. It doesn't need to be clean or neat. I'm going to let the brush take care of that. Now I'll use my Sephora eyeshadow brush, which I have many of lying all over the house because I love this particular brush so much. And I'm going to use it to clean up the eye like this. Making sure to blend, bringing the dark color into the crease and blending it into Bronze Moon nicely. And then use my finger to just blend outward. And then on this side, same thing. So my fingers, these products, once they set, the Ombre Blackstar is fairly indelible. So you want to make sure that you've blended it to the shape for your eye that you like best. Now underneath, because I just apply it from the tube itself, sometimes I get a deeper, darker, larger line than I would initially want, but that's okay because the concealer, once I pat it up, will take care of that and make it look less dramatic in the morning, which is when I'm heading out of the house. All right, so there's my complete eye. You can see the colors blend together nicely, they complement each other, and this eye took all of 20 seconds. Now if I find myself with a bit of extra time and I'm feeling creative, I will typically follow up this eye combination with the Surratt Beauty Smokey Eye Baton in Cindre Smudgeable Complementary Shadow Shade. Now next to it you can see it's got kind of a shimmery taupe vibe. You can wear one over the other like that to intensify and smoke out the eye. I just find that this particular color works well with the By Terry combination. So I'm going to add a little bit to the bottom here. You can see how it just transforms it ever so lightly, adds a little luminosity. And it also, because it's a powder formula, it kind of sets the cream, which I need extra setting power in the lower lash line because I do wear contacts and my eyes just tend to want to encourage or invite my eye makeup to move around a little bit. Alright, so once again, this isn't complete, but the eye is close to finished. And then I'll go ahead and curl my lashes. God help me, when I'm curling my lashes in a hurry, it always makes me nervous that I'm going to do something wrong, but typically I try to exhibit lots of focus. I'm using the Surratt Relevee eyelash curler, and this is just a beautiful instrument to create a very natural, very lasting curl in the lashes. So I'll just go ahead and insert my lashes in there and pinch. Other side and pinch. Alright, and that's going to prep my lashes for the mascara to come. The mascara that I'll be using is the Chantecaille Supreme Cils. I've mentioned this before, and that's why I've been heavily relying upon it. It's a tremendous formula for creating volume, darkness, and depth in the lashes, length, curl. It does it all, and it does it all without smudging, moving, or migrating throughout the day. So I appreciate its longevity, its fortitude, as well as its obvious aesthetic effect. And it's got this kind of wavy brush that just gets into the base of the lashes. Now sometimes I'm applying this mascara at home when I have enough time. Other times I have a favorite signal that I get stopped at for like 3 minutes, and it allows me to do both lashes very quickly, let them dry, do another coat. It's probably wrong, but it does happen. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just apply the base here, work it through. You can see it's already instantly building volume and depth and length. Wow, just the difference right there with the seconds I've spent on this side. It's a really powerful mascara. Go to the bottom. And I'm not worried, and this is one of the good things about this absurd concealer situation, I'm not worried about the mascara getting below because I know I'm going to be able to clean it up very easily when I'm ready. My lashes are complete. Granted, there's a little bit of mascara up on my upper lids, which is bound to happen if you're applying in a hurry in non-ideal circumstances, which is usually the case for me. And I account for that by already having my eyeshadow brush handy, which probably has a little bit of remnant of the eyeshadow that I've already applied, and so I can just use it on my upper lids to kind of smooth out any errant dark mascara, which I'll do right now. And I just brush it over that area, clean it up nicely. Because this brush was already working with the shadow on my lids, it's got a little bit left on it to cover it up. And there, all cleaned up in all of 2 seconds. Now here comes the concealer magic, that magical moment. I'll get close. So I do see a little bit of mascara in this under eye region, and as I've already mentioned, I've made this a little whiter than I appreciate on my lower lash line, especially for an early morning work moment. So I'm going to go ahead and use my fingers, the tips of my fingers, to just pat this into my eye area, sweeping to clean up anything that I fear is too dark. And there you go, the eye is completely cleaned up. The concealer is but a distant memory. Now the final step of my 5-minute face that I've been doing in the mornings, of course, is lips. And sometimes I'm able to apply this before I walk out of the house. Otherwise, it's just like handy on my lap while I drive. So when I hit another signal, I can put these 2 colors on. I've already prepped my lips with the Jouer Lip Enhancer. And then I've been working with a very much favorite color combination. I love peachy pink nude lips. I've discussed that many times over. And these 2 shades embody this nicely. This is the Surratt gloss, which I think I've included in another video before. It's the Lip Luster in Coquette, which is a very pale yet opaque, milky baby pink. Despite having a lot of pink lip glosses, I truly don't have anything this exact shade, and so it's got a unique place in my collection. Also, it is just tacky enough to be very long wearing. It's not uncomfortable, but it's just got what I would consider to be a perfect texture for a long wearing gloss. I'm actually going to put the gloss on first, which might seem counterintuitive, but it's all a part of my master plan to make sure this face stays in place all day. Go ahead and just put a swipe of that on. And you can see by itself, it's just a really pretty pale pink. Now I'm going to add a bit more color and opacity to my lips, more pigmentation, and that is coming in the form of the Limecrime lipstick. It's Babette, which was a very new release for them months ago, but it's new for me, and I think it is their most recent lip color release. It looks like this, and it's a very, very opaque in one pass, peachy pink in the nude family, but the combination of Babette and Coquette, both also very French, is just fantastic. I don't have to think long or hard about it, and it stays all day. So here we go. One pass. A little bit more. You can see it already, just your lips are just punched up, but Something about the gloss with this makes it obviously more moisturizing because these can be a teeny bit dry. It's not bothersome for me, but I do like to mix it with something slightly more emollient. Also, I think it steps up the shine and removes some of like the overly pigmented intensity it can come across as white. It actually, the pale gloss actually deepens it a little bit, and I like that combination. And here is my lip look up close. Just perhaps one of my favorite colors overall in existence. That's likely why I've been relying upon this lip mix so heavily the last couple of weeks. I just like everything about it. The shade, the texture, the wear, which is substantial, and the fact that my lips feel balanced and comfortable all day long. Also, I think this is a really versatile shade, so you could wear it with a purple or a darker brown lid, maybe with something smokier. I like to wear, you know, a warm light taupe, but it's very versatile and utilitarian. And that is my everyday face that I am able to achieve in about 5 or 6 minutes early in the morning. I am loving the products that I've included in this particular look, and so that's why I've been relying upon them so heavily. I hope you have found this tutorial informative and interesting and helpful, and of course I welcome your questions and comments. Please don't forget to visit me at my beauty blog, Beauty Professor, which can be found at www.beautyprofessor.net. Take care.